Hello, FIGT family. I'm excited to be here today speaking to you from Lyon in the place where I have been studying, and I'm actually talking to you from my university where everything has started. I'm doing a typical TCK journey, going back to all my old homes, and it's been wonderful to see some of my old professors, high school friends, university friends, old colleagues. And today I thought, what a perfect place to talk about the journey of our ambitions and our careers, especially when we have to give it up to move abroad for our partners. And one of the specific topics I want to talk to you about, and I was asked to talk to you about, is about that sense of guilt. Once we give up our careers, don't make any more money, and suddenly find ourselves financially dependent on our partners, after having probably had a wonderful career and have been probably very successful, having our own money, suddenly we find ourselves completely dependent. And that journey, I know that many of you might have had it, whether you're a woman or a man, or from gender neutral. It's really important to talk about this topic, but I know that this is a specific topic that might have affected a lot of women around the world that have given up their careers to move with their partners abroad, but also to focus on their families. One thing that we know, especially in our FIGT community, is this sense of guilt of finding ourselves financially dependent and then suddenly not feeling comfortable investing in ourselves anymore. And spending just some money on ourselves feels like a huge burden and a huge sense of guilt. So I wonder if this is you. I wanted to address this real quick for you. First of all, if you're watching this through our social media channels, I'd love to hear how you have experienced that. Have you had that feeling of guilt? I've had it, so I started my life and my journey in these places, in this room, where I knew exactly what I wanted to do in my career. I was very career-driven. I was very committed to my career. It was everything to me. It was my whole identity. And when I started my career, everything was working well. I was really excited. And at some point, I met the man of my life, and I had to give it up. And when I had to give it up, I did not give it up very easily. There were a lot of conditions for me to decide to give up my job and my career and my financial independence. But although I had prepared really well that transition, it did not stop me from feeling extremely guilty. And I had a moment where, honestly, I have felt very depressed of having lost everything that was my identity, my career, my job, but also the fact that I was free to make any decisions I wanted regarding the money. If I wanted to invest on myself, if I wanted to treat myself, I didn't have to ask anybody. And I know that once we live on the move, this dynamic changes, and a lot of people just suddenly stop investing in themselves because they feel guilty because they're not making the money. So I want to talk to you about this and I could talk about this for hours, but I have a few messages for you, and I'll start with the big picture. A few months ago, I had done an episode about the mental load of caregivers. One thing that we know is that when we give up our careers to live on the move, we automatically become a caregiver. We take all the role of caring for the family. Most of the partners who give up their careers are actually in charge of the well-being of the whole family and the transition from a country to another, and automatically become a caregiver, and that's a huge job that a lot of companies benefit from. And that's something that we should not underestimate. But I have done some research about this, and even those who are not expats, by the way, all caregivers around the world, their job, their invisible workload, if it was counted in the GDP, and this is something that has been studied by a lot of researchers, and we have some statistics we can share with you with this video. If the invisible work of caregivers was counted, it would count 30 to 50% of the GDP. So it's important to realize that instead of feeling guilty, is to understand the actually very, very important role you have in the economy, and how you should never underestimate the fact that you're not earning money, you're actually creating value for the economy, for the company of your partner, but you're also helping your partner to grow in their own career. And for that simple reason, guilt should never be part of the equation. If anything, you should feel empowered to actually require whatever you need to be able to grow in your journey from a country to another. So as I said, I could talk a lot about this, but I think that by just shifting a little bit the paradigm and realizing the value that you're creating on the macro level, on top of the individual level inside the cellular family, is huge. And I hope that this will help you realize that it's really important that you fight internally, first of all, to convince yourself that there's no reason for you to feel guilty if you need to invest in yourself or want to have a percentage of the family income that goes to your own needs. That is normal. I wouldn't say you want to ask for a salary for yourself, but it's really important that that conversation exists in the partnership and that you have that conversation. And how do you want to be rewarded for the invisible work you are doing, not only at the level of the family, but also the company? And finally, it's really important to be empowered, to understand what you truly want to do. You don't always have to be that caregiver. You have the choice as well to invest in a support system that you need to build your own career, but also to fulfill your own dreams. I hope, by now I'm hoping that more and more people are realizing that there are options. You know that I've started this journey many years ago, over 10 years ago, and I have started Tandem Nomads to actually help a lot of expat partners to turn their career challenges into a successful portable business. And for me, entrepreneurship is an amazing way to be able to reinvent. In quotes, reinvention for me is not necessarily something that I like to use, but it's really possible to create our own thing. But in order to create our own thing, we need to have the support to be able to grow our careers and our businesses the same way that our partners and companies are being able to grow thanks to your support. So it's as important to understand that you need as much support as the one you're giving to the others, and guilt should never be part of the equation. You need to understand how much value you're giving so that you can allow yourself to get the support you need. So surround yourself with the support you need, and I would love to continue this conversation throughout this video, through the comments. If you want, please tag me. Any questions you want to have. This could be a whole round table that we could discuss. But I hope this little shift of looking at the big picture will help you realize that there's absolutely no reason to feel guilty. If anything, you should feel empowered to turn your challenges into opportunities, I always say, but also to make sure that your needs are fulfilled. Thank you, and I look forward to following up on this conversation.